Hello everybody, it's Shaderock, and welcome back to the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess manga videos. I need to come up with a better name for these, to be honest. But yep, welcome to the Twilight Princess Volume 8. So, last time we dealt with the aftermath of the whole Dark Link incident because of him coming into contact with the Mirror of Twilight. And, of course, Link finally has entered the Temple of Time and saw the events of the end of Ocarina of Time, which was just great little homage. Well, I mean, I didn't say homage, but it's a lot of great fan service back for those who love Ocarina of Time, and it really does help establish a connection between him and the Hero's Shade, since, as I've been mentioning, the Hero's Shade is the Hero of Time. And with that, we finally get Link's training arc. So, we begin the volume with the training with the Hero's Shade. Link has not trained with the Hero's Shade since the time in Kakariko Village. And he wastes no time with this session. In the Temple of Time, he proceeds to teach Link the Backslice, the Helm Splitter, and finally when Link is insisting that he can keep going, despite the fact that he is starting to get visibly exhausted. He's pushing himself to his limit. The Hero's Shade's telling him, like, you need to calm down, time is accelerated here. As he is training, he is losing spans of his life. And to finally prove a point, he executes the Mortal Draw. All of these techniques were developed to fight the unusual creatures employed by Ganondorf and to fight sorcerers, as I've been mentioning. And this entire time that we're having this training montage between the two, Minda's watching it. Just talk about the fact that he's been fighting only monsters at this point. He has not fought another swordsman since the destruction of his village, of his town. But now, even though he's crossing blades with a human, skeletal one, he's actually enjoying himself. That she's seeing him have fun with training and mastering the blade. And Minda has a moment where she has to reassure herself that she has not forgotten her goal, that she cannot enjoy herself while the people of the realm of Twilight are suffering. And she's now kind of lying to herself that for now, Link, she doesn't care about Link. He's just someone she's using, a means to an end. And, yeah, she's in denial. And during the training, Link has a moment where he grabs the arm of the Hero's Shade, and he finally asks him. He thought it was, when he saw the Hero's Shade all those years, well, back when his village was destroyed, he thought it was death trying to pull him down. But instead, he realized it was the Hero's Shade trying to help him. And that, he explains he had a premonition that he wasn't going to be the one to stop Ganondorf, that they were about to lose the next hero who could save Hyrule. And he's like, I can't save everyone, I can't save the village, but I could save the hero. And this is where Minda realizes, because Link asks him, like, you're watching over me? He goes, no. I was watching over the realm of Twilight. And that's when Minda realizes that the golden wolf that had been beside her all those years had been the Hero of Time. And he actually apologizes to her that he was unable to protect her. And, well, he apologized because of the fact that Zant, because of his inability to stop Zant, they're in this mess. And Minda's only response to him is that she didn't have any friends she could trust, so the Hero of Time was just this great comfort to her. But, and he also gives some reassurance to Link that he does it over a fact, but if Link goes to the realm of Twilight, there's a chance that his friends from that village might be alive, and that he might be able to see them again. But unfortunately, Link's questions are cut short as they hear a bell ring and the entire temple starts to hyper-age in front of them. And the Hero's Shade tells them there is no more time, you must go get the shard. So, Link goes running ahead, kind of cutting his way through some spiderwebs. I wouldn't mention they weren't important, don't worry. But he comes face to face with the Dark Nut. And we actually get some really good swordsmanship from Link here. And we get to see him actually take advantage of all of his new techniques, as well as the new speed he's built up from training with the Hero's Shade. As the fight goes, we actually get to see Link use various techniques against Dark Nut, including the Helm Splitter, which allows Link to deal the final blow. We do not get a fight between Link and unarmored Dark Nut. As soon as he cuts the armored form, it's done. But we do get some great shots, and honestly, another reason I recommend reading this manga, because the artwork for some of the combat is really good. It's just not something I could show a lot of. I'm trying to pick some of the highlights. But as they go to get the Mirror of Shadow, Midna tells them to wait, as something proceeds to land on it. And that something is a spider. As that spider proceeds to land, it mutates into the Twilight Arachnid Armagoma. And we actually see, like, the whole, like, this small little spider grotesquely grow and mutate into this thing. And it actually smiles at Link, almost confident that it can squish him. And we get some great... This is actually one of the few times that Link does not just one-shot one of the bosses. This one actually goes for a couple pages. We see Link ducking and weaving between its arms, as this fight is a lot more complex than it was in the game, since Link did not get the Dominion Rod. Reminder, Link has gotten almost none of the dungeon items that we had in the game. So he doesn't have things like the Claw Shot, he doesn't have the Dominion Rod, he has the Gale Boomerang, but it has not been seen since, like, Volume 2. And I'm trying to think what other items. I believe has the Hero's Bow, but he just never uses it. I guess because ideally, the manga runs on the assumption Link can't pocket all this shit, so he's just carrying his sword and shield. But we can see he cuts off one of Goma's legs, and Goma's response is to scurry onto the fucking ceiling and proceed to lay the eggs, much like he did in the game. And yeah, and honestly, it's just as grotesque as it is in the game. But we also see a moment of Goma shooting a laser at Link that he deflects with the Hylian shield. He clears out all of Goma's eggs with the spin attack, and then goes for the kill, slashing Goma in two. And with Goma defeated, we get actually a great scene of Link sheathing the Master Sword. And he does, like, the whole, like, sword spin, the flourish, puts it into the sheath. And we have a moment, I kind of joke about this moment with Midna, because I've been holding off on talk. I mentioned back when we first got into the Gerudo Desert, the fact that the Twilight Princess manga plays a lot with the relationship between Link and Midna. Whenever I describe this page to people, it is essentially to me a bit of that Squidward meme, but instead of, like, you know, just imagine him in his underwear, it is just Midna, like, I'm just using Link, I don't care about the Realm of Light, and then there's this. she cares. She's in denial. Mind you, she's in denial for simple reasons. But their time is... She doesn't have any moments really to talk about it, as the hero's shade reappears and tells him that he has not finished teaching him all his techniques, that maybe in the future he will, but their time is up, and he proceeds to fade into the mist. But as he goes, he tells him, do not neglect your training, that they have to keep going. And he gets a little depressed for a moment, but Minna kind of smacks his cheeks a little bit, tells him that, you know, he's still just a spoiled boy. And we get a moment of Link just looking at her just like, what is that? Because, like, Minna's she's acting a little different. Almost as if she's, like, trying to, you know, hide something. But as they teleport back out of the Temple of Time and get ready to leave, she says that they might be gathering some unspeakable power, and that it would be best if it disappeared from this world entirely. Which, this is where in the manga we're kind of getting a little bit more of this, of what Minna's end goal is at this point. The conclusion she has reached when it comes to the realm of Twilight and the realm of Light. We know what it is from the game, but oh god, it is going to hit harder in this. As Link and Minna are leaving the Temple of Time and heading back to civilization, we cut back to Shad at Telma's bar, who comes running in screaming that he has found something. And it's the Ancient Sky book. This is the same book that was part of the quest line to get us into the City in the Sky, the dungeon with the final piece of the Mirror of Twilight. So we don't have to, Link doesn't have to go through the process of getting the book. It is just given to him. And Telma thinks it is possibly just a false book for him. Like, it's just a bit of gibberish. But he's declaring that he could finally discover the location of the City in the Sky. Declaring it to Ilya, and she's just like, neat, cool. Russell's actually, you know what, he's encouraging him. He's like, you know what? Go right ahead. That book may be the discovery of the century. And he actually gives him the first of the Sky characters, mentioning that it was carved into an owl statue he ran into deep in the woods of Farron. The same one that we moved to find the same character back in Twilight Princess. So they just speed run the whole quest line in this, which is fine. I mean, we don't need to see Link going around collecting the Sky characters. We got more story and plot to go through. Ilya actually goes through and checks on Epona, who is at the stable. She's checking on Epona, telling her she seems healthy. Epona starts to get spooked. Ilya thinks it's Link coming back. She runs to the gate to meet him. But as she does, one of the guards gets shot as the entire town is under attack. And this is the same attack that Link was helping to prevent before going into the insanity of Dark Link. So they finally made it to town. And I see everyone coming in to fight, including the gathering of the Hyrule guards. Russell goes out telling Telma to lock the door. And Ilya actually goes to hide Epona. But as she does, she comes across someone in an alley. And it is the king of the Bubblins. Somehow he made it into the town. And Ilya... There were some memories that hadn't awoken. And that was her time being captured. The fear she feels, and... It is generally a bit... It's rough to see, like, just, like, how, like, afraid she is of this creature. But he's just defeated. He's just laying there still. Just screaming the fact that the law he knew is no longer true. That his entire belief structure perhaps has been shaken by losing to Link twice. And he doesn't know what to believe in anymore. And as he's having this moment, Ilia kind of conquers her fear, walks over, and comforts him, saying him no, in that world, that law of strength does not exist. And he just simply asks her, what was that? He touched her, but it caused him to feel something, and she tells him it's kindness. He does not know how the fuck to comprehend kindness. And as this happens, though, Russell shows up, and he sees her near a monster and goes to save her, and she tells him to stop, that he's going through something. He's definitely changing. But as they turn around, he's gone. The monsters have been driven off, and Link is finally on his way back. He has no idea this is going on. He's just walking through Hyrule Fields, staring up the sky like, how the fuck do I get up there? Link actually arrives in town, though. His thoughts finally broke about trying to figure out how to get into the city in the sky, as he sees all Castletown's not in good shape. That the monsters did some damage. So his first thing he runs to do is runs to Telma's bar to check on Ilia. Seeing that she's back, she's safe, the fact that everyone in Telma's bar is safe, and he decides to sit down and finally tell them about the plot. He informs them about the realm of Twilight, about Xanth, Shadow King, everything. And he confronts Aru, basically saying, in the Gerudo Desert, there's a prison called the Arbiter's Grounds. There they use the cursed mirror to send criminals to the other world. And Aru's eyes go wide as he's realized Link has seen the cursed mirror. And Link explains that the mirror was shattered and that he's collected 2 of the shards. And that if he could restore it, he could go to the Twilight Realm and defeat Xanth. And he turns to Shad, basically saying, you were researching the city in the sky. You're my only link to get there. Knowing that the last piece is there. And Shad actually, like, he feels so justified, because he's had everyone telling him he's insane. Because, in the game, he's finishing the works of his father to find the city in the sky. In the manga, he's rejected by his family. He's an outcast because of the fact that he's seeking a fairy tale. And Link's the only one who really believed in him at this point. Told him, like, no, it's real, and I need your help to get there. So not only is it the fact that, you know, someone believes in him, it's that someone is encouraging him. And they check through the ancient book and figure out that the last owl statue is in Kakariko. So we get to see them go to Kakariko Village. Link says hi to Ronaldo and everyone. We get to see all the kids with them. Shad's kind of surprised to see how popular Link is with everyone. And it's very different to how he's seen, especially even in Castletown. And when they get there, we get to the owl statue. He's actually afraid. What if it doesn't work? And he is just a crackpot. Link instead encourages him and tells him, your research is part of my mission. I have to do this. And when he's uneasy, he just thinks, this is my mission. And he gives him courage. Where they then find, of course, through getting rid of the owl statue, they find the cannon, much like in the game. And they're looking at, they can't figure out how to actually get it to work. So Midna's just like, oh, you just need to get the cannon working? I got this. Using her magic, the cannon looks up and just shoots straight into the sky, destroying the sanctuary. Very different in the game. And as Link gets shot into the sky, though, he doesn't go alone. Shad grabs onto Link, almost in like a reverse of what happens in Skyward Sword with Groose, where he grabs Link as they fall down. Instead, he grabs them as they fly through the sky, ending up in the city in the sky. Now that they're in the city in the sky, after landing in the same pool we landed in the game, Shad immediately jumps up, screaming that as he runs the edge and confirms he's discovered the city in the sky. He is so excited, thinking that there's no one living there, and as they are talking, something comes flying by. A very familiar face that lives in my nightmares. And they're confused if it is a bird or a human, so we know the fact that this is as Okaka, and well, Shad actually speaks their language. He basically says, "Hello, do you live in the city?" And and of course, he gets so excited because they respond to him, and he doesn't realize that they're speaking in Hylian. And gets very depressed about the fact that he spent all that time researching and they speak fucking Hylian. But their talk is cut short as we see the Twilight Dragon flying overhead. The same one that was our final boss. Apparently, in this one, it used to be a golden dragon, and everyone's freaking out over it. It used to be this dragon used to protect them from outsiders. Well, outside threats. But when it decided, well, not when it decided, when it came into contact with the Mirror of Twilight and turned into the Twilight Dragon, the Air Sophos appeared, and they demand Grog, even though, these guys don't really have any, and they're just being the airflows are bothering them. Link tells them to, well, in simple terms, get out, even threatening to pull his sword on them. In response for Link coming to their aid and saying he's going to deal with the dragon, they give him an item left by another previous visitor, and it's the double claw shot. One of the only other items Link gets from the game. He doesn't really use them outside of the city in the sky, but it's interesting that he gets the double claw shot. And him and Shad set out with Okako. Or Ochacho? I never actually figured out to say her name, and I don't care to know because she lives in my fucking nightmares. I do not like that face. And Shad nearly falls to his death after they see her walk on the walls. Link actually does try to use the, double claw shot to save him, but he's instead saved, by Ochoko, who says that this happens all the time, and Link tells him, hey, if you die here, you really are just a nincompoop. There's a nice little comedic routine going on here with these two, with Link being the competent, well-traveled hero, where Shad's the bookworm who is just getting himself into fucking trouble. But as they're exploring, they are attacked by the airflows, who Link proceeds to fight and actually not only just get the upper hand on, he uses the claw shot to ride it. And just tells them, take me to the dragon. As they fly up, battle with Argork, the Twilight Dragon begins. And, well, it's a very different fight than what we had in the game, as Link starts in the air this time instead of having to climb up to the dragon's nest. And Okaku points out the fact that the dragon is very quick to breathe fire and covered in black armor. Well, Link is kind of just left to try and figure out how to actually damage it. A great visual of Link using the claw shots, hanging on, watching it. And we have Midna appear next to him, telling him that this is the last one, that they're almost done this quest. Link eventually the dragon is distracted by Okaku, who then allows Link to claw shot onto the back, just like we did in the game. Link goes to pull out the sword to deal the blow, and he drops it. He drops the sword, it lands in the nest, where it is grabbed by Shad, who decides to throw it back up to Link. And he fucking misses. He hits the wall, it bounces off, much to all of their dismay. So again, can be keeping up the comedic routine. Link then uses the claw shot, though, to grab it and whip the blade around, grabbing it to allow him to go for that one singular blow. There's no, like, breaking armor phase for this. It is just, he stabs into the jewel and immediately defeats the boss. It's kind of funny. I've talked about so far, like, all of these bosses being defeated really quickly. I would say Agrok is the fastest. We get some great moments, like comedic ones, and still something I highly recommend reading just because of the fact Shad and Link have this amazing comedic energy with each other. And it does add a lot to a character who really doesn't have much in the game. Because despite having it, though the Resistance in general don't have much of a character, Shad, I would say Shad and Aisha, I think, if I remember correctly. That says something about the Resistance. I don't remember many of their names. I only remember Aru and Russell because Russell has such a great little bit of repertoire with Link at the beginning of Twilight Princess, and Aru because of an event later in the manga where I have developed a hatred for the character. But Shad, I would say, gets the least and that's insane because of the fact that Shad has an entire quest line connected to him about restoring the Dominion Rod. But the Okakus thank Link, and he tells them that they only succeeded because they worked together. And Link decides to head back to the surface through the Twilight Portal with Midna. And Shad points out he won't be able to follow Link, so he's stuck finding his own way, which is just getting dropped in an egg all the way back to the surface. Yeah, no, Shad's just a comedic character all the way through, and I don't hate it because it's fun. It's a couple good bits, and I also do like the boost to his confidence that Link gives him over the course of the City in the Sky arc. I don't even say arc, but City in the Sky chapter. But the volume ends with Link and Midna just sitting out in a campfire, saying that it's going to be the last look at the moon from the world of light. She simply just says, the people of the Twilight must solve the problems of the Twilight Realm. And that she's going to finally explain to Link her full story. And that brings Volume 8 of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess to an end. Volume 8, like I said, Volume 8 is just the City in the Sky and the end of the... Well, it's the City in the Sky and the end of Temple of Time. A lot of this volume is dedicated strictly to Link training with the Hero's Shade. Temple of Time gets a lot more focus than City in the Sky, and to be honest, more than Snow Peak. And that has been something I've talked about with a lot of the dungeons. While the manga does a lot more focus on the characters instead of the dungeons themselves are sorely cut. There's barely anything done. Instead, the dungeons are used more to explore the other characters around Link and to raise Link up more as a hero and help him grow. It's definitely more seen with the Mirror Dungeons after he gets the Master Sword, because of the fact we saw him riding high on that confidence, getting knocked down after Blizzetta, and then picking himself back up and training with the Hero's Shade in Temple of Time. And we're going to see all that training put to the test in the Realm of Twilight in Volume 9.